Here's another one.
Hello everybody, and good morning to all of you who are here today, so early in the morning, my morning, maybe your guys' evenings or afternoons or whatever. Nonetheless, welcome to the stream, all of you ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and newcomers alike. My name is Douglas, and today we're gonna be doing some very interesting things. As the title of the stream suggests, today is some delicious illustration time. But unlike, you know, any other illustration time, today we're gonna be doing some studying, more or less. We're gonna try and figure out how to do this thing that they call Chiaroscuro, which is a technique where you try to convey information only by using shades of light and dark, and not using colors, just using big grayscale. So we're practically gonna be trying to do illustrations and color it with grayscale to try and get the gist for how the heck does Chiaroscuro works. Nonetheless, welcome to the stream, Rego, Stu, and also Kaze, who we never see anymore. Kaze, say it's only 720p by 60 frames per second. Is that good or is that bad? And also, it should not be at 60 frames per second because my stream is at 230. So there's something very amiss in there. Very, very amiss. Nonetheless, Grego, you said that somehow it changes some streams. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's something on Twitch's side of this shenanigan, because I'm doing nothing to warrant that change. And Kazuo said that sounds interesting, and I hope it does, because I'm not very sure how to do that myself. And also Bones, you said Douglas draws time. Yes, exactly. But with a slightly better name. But yes, we're gonna be drawing things, and hopefully it's gonna work out pretty well. Pretty well. So as it happens, I did a very light research yesterday night rather, before starting up the stream, and I have found out that it does helps quite a bit if you draw something from life, if you're using drawings from life as an example instead of trying to come up with something random on the fly. Well, we don't have any, photos or anything here which we can study, I'm afraid. Well, I mean, it's not incredibly hard to find, but we don't have any right now, I'm afraid. But it shouldn't be too easy to... it shouldn't be too hard to get something going. But it's mostly that since Chiaroscuro is all about using tones of black and white to try and convey some sort of picture, it would help if we use a lightning that we know to be true, instead of trying to come up with our own lightning in our own picture that has flaws. We know for a fact that we don't have perfect understanding of light and shadow. So what I'm trying to say is that I will need some reference pictures to work with. If you guys have any any reference pictures you have, or that you would like suggest, do let me know, because that would certainly be very appreciated. Other than that, I don't have anything, so I'm just gonna go to old trusty Google. I'll look for... I don't know what to look for. The possibilities are so vast, so big, and yet so hard to grasp. How about we go with I don't know, what about we get some delicious video game pictures. It's not, it's not incredibly recommended, because they can be manufactured, and they can also be kind of faked. You can manipulate the lighting and whatnot, but it's still, since video games nowadays they try to simulate real life so closely, they still make very good references. But literally what we need is just real life pictures, or pictures that try and mimic real life as closely as possible. So I loaded up a couple here on my canvas. You can see I couldn't think of anything else but Assassin's Creed right now, so I got two pictures. One is a very bright daytime setting, and another is a kind of darker nighttime setting. And what I'm gonna try and do is figure out some chiaroscuro with them. Rego, you say like what kind of references? Anything you can think of. What I was looking for is real life pictures of real life places, real life people, real life whatever. Because, like I said, I want to explore some natural lighting, and real life scenarios, real life situations. Because what we're gonna be trying to do is come up with illustrations that mimic real life, in a sense of lighting and everything else. So the closest it resembles real life, the better. And also, Stu, you said you have a pic of you in the middle of your favorite band. That's all you can offer, maybe not what you're looking for. Depends. It might, it might not be something that is wise to throw in the middle of a stream for everybody to see. Especially now that you said what it is, so everybody will know what it is. But yeah, that would have worked. The interesting part would be to explore different settings and different things. So, on top of that, I have never tried to draw from life before. Kinda like this. So, I'm not entirely sure on where to begin. If I begin by trying to trace it, by trying to work a thumbnail on the side. I literally have never done this before. Okay, I think I'm gonna start with this bright daylight picture. Luckily for me, they're kinda big, so I can resize them down without feeling very guilty about it. Alright, so what I'm gonna be doing is having the originals on the left and my versions on the version on the right. Let's name this the original. I need a bigger pencil though. So original and Doug's. Simple as that. Also, just copy the pictures because I wanted to have an idea for the size. Let's try and start with the first. I'm gonna. How do I approach this? I'm gonna get my marker brush and try and get a little thumbnail going on. Also, I'm gonna create another canvas to have as a miniature. Of course, though, because of the way that these are set up, it's gonna be very hard for you guys to tell which one's which. So maybe instead of doing these things Instead of doing it horizontal, let's do it vertical. That'll work out better. So, same thing, but now the original is above and Doug's are below. In case anybody needed confirmation of that. So let's begin here. Stu, you said that you don't mind. Oh then, that's good to know, but still. Oh, first of all, thanks for being so helpful. So what I think I'm gonna try and do here is get the lay of the land first in this thumbnail. Also, I'm not gonna try and be 100% accurate with the way I'm gonna work. I'm not gonna try and 100% mimic exactly what is going on. Just gonna try and really throwing some layout there. And as it happens, it's much easier to work if you first start up with a silhouette than if you straight up try going with the fancy shenanigans. The silhouette will make sure you have a frame of reference. And also, I feel like I also need to give a little explanation. The reason why I'm doing this is, I don't know if you guys are following me on Twitter. If you're not, you should. If you are, you probably saw yesterday that I posted a little progress of my latest comic. It's showing a little bit of how it's going so far and what's going on with it. And yeah, it's pretty much just showing up, hey, look at this, I have some things done so far. Hopefully you guys got to see it. And the idea with this new comic is that I want to try new things with it. One of the things I want to try is having a different way of, coloring and illustrating the comic out together. I want to try something different. I want to try something that is more like kind of high contrast. And one of the many choices I have for trying different things is one of the many options I have for trying out new things is these many references I have of this book I probably talked about before, called Frame the Ink or Frame the Perspective, whichever, by Mateus Michael Master. It's an amazing book with amazing pictures and references. They're pretty good, and I wish I had a style that was so cool as Mateus's, or rather Marcus's. And there's no way to, start developing a style unless you start trying to do it. So I'm gonna try and study it and mimic it in some way, maybe throw my own twist at it, and see how it goes. And also, Rain Shape says Spartan Doggos. More or less, yeah. I couldn't think of anything else. Regular said that your bits won't work. Which bits? And apparently the chat disconnected for a while. Yeah, I don't know. For whichever reason, there's some sort of crazy disconnection problem that always happens with Twitch. And Rego, you saw it but you forgot to like it, and Stu, you don't use Twitter. But lucky for you, I also posted it on Patreon. Because it says new comic. Arrange happy means storyboarding. Yeah. I did a storyboard, I did layouts, but and I posted it around. So what I'm gonna try and do here, first of all, is throw in a gray, or rather, I wanna throw gray because it's a very neutral color, or rather, 50% gray. Because from this I can go up or low. I can choose which direction I want to go. So with this background here, as you can see, it's further away in the distance, and what happens is that the further away things are from the camera, quote unquote, the more atmosphere there is between you and the subject. So this atmosphere, it does many things. The first thing that it does is, well, not necessarily the atmosphere, but if you're using any sort of camera, it probably has some sort of focus function. So anything that is closer to you is in focus and the thing on the background is out of focus, so it's blurred, or the other way around. In this case, it's the former. The things on the background are blurred, and what the atmosphere is doing is, atmosphere is a thick layer of air. Or rather, it doesn't feel thick, but if the more of it you put between you and your subject, the thicker it feels. So eventually, if something is pretty far away, it will start to look kind of grayed out. So that's the gist. Things in the distance are gonna look more grayed out, have less contrast than things on the foreground. So you can see that in the foreground we have shades that get closer to black than things on the background. Their shades don't vary much, and even their darkest areas don't get to become black. They have very muted tones compared to the foreground. So that's what I'm gonna throw in here. The background is gonna have a lighter shade of gray. Just to illustrate how further back in the picture, in the composition, this whole gist is. But also, as you can see, it's already shaded. And there is some trees down here which are darker, and some light spots on the left side of this whole formation. So what I'm gonna try and do is get a slightly darker color. Like I said, we are not trying to up the contrast too much, and illustrate some trees down there in the bottom. Also, I'm not gonna throw in a whole lot of definition for them, because like we also said, those things are blurred, but they should not steal all the focus and attention. And then from the same color, just go a little bit up in the color wheel to try and throw in some highlights wherever we see fit. Also, I don't know why this is the way it goes. There's some highlight here in the middle of the statue, but not on the side. So I guess we're seeing the statue from a very weird angle. So that does it for that. Also, because I'm trying to get, because I'm trying also to, you know, focus on some other things, not necessarily replicating the picture perfectly. I'm gonna disconsider this guy here in the on the left because he's not doing a whole lot for the scene altogether. So I'm just gonna focus on this random Athenian soldier and Alexis here and try to illustrate them instead. And Rega, you said that stream bits you can't send them. That's weird. Huh. And Stu, you said, woo. Did you not mention you saw it and you were like, oh my dog. The last Patreon page. The dog has been busy with the new comic. I have spent this week working kinda hard on it. Kinda hard. And Bones, you said that you feel like this is a lesson. And don't forget the happy trees, Doug. It's the happy little trees, Bones. I will. Thank you for remembering that they are little trees, not just any random peasant trees or little trees. But yes, I will try not to forget them. But this guy is completely flying backwards because of how hard he has been kicked somewhere. I'm not gonna say where exactly because it's hard to tell. Because he's already flying. So what I'm gonna do here is do it like so. Now in here we have this 50% gray. And now we're gonna try and get the rest of this picture going. And try not to pay too much attention to the background. Now we're working on the foreground, so there's a lot of things going on. First, because this is the foreground, it's in focus and there's the smallest amount of atmosphere between the camera and the subject. As you can see, the contrasting colors go up and down like crazy. For example, here the statue is pretty dark. It's incredibly dark. Oh, god damn it. I need to go and do something here. Set up new shortcuts. Control Alt, change to temporarily, and eyedropper, obtain display color. Yes, thank you. So Alt, Control Alt. Oh, I forgot that's something else already. What the hell? Clip Studio. What the fuck you're doing? Well then, this is it. Oh, is that so? Well, fuck me up the butthole then. There we go. So, you guys cannot see my color wheel, but I'm gonna explain very shortly. The satchel here on Alexis's belt is a very dark color compared to the blade, which is a very bright color. So even if we throw this, even if we go and take out the color of the equation, you can still see that this is very white and this is very black. In fact, this is awesome. I should have done this before. But nonetheless, you can see how how bigger the contrast is in this situation rather than it was in here with the background. So that's what I'm trying to replicate, have very varying contrasts in this situation here for these characters. And Rego, you say that it is, and everyone needs a friend. Oh. Ray Shep says no, must forget Happy Tree Friends. And Zach says, yo Duggo, how you Doug? I'm doing good, thanks for asking Zach, and welcome to the stream. How are you doing today in this lovely, whatever day today is, Tuesday? Oh damn, it's Tuesday already. God damn, where is my week going to? And also, hello there Marcus as well. Welcome to the stream. What is up with you today? Stu, you say that this is the Sparta kick, and Bones will say the mightiest of kicks. A kick so powerful, no matter where you are in the world, they will be kicked into a very big hole in the floor. Oh no. That sounds bad. And Stu, you said also you're okay resting a bit this and try not to have a migraine. And Marcus asked, how are you all doing? I don't know about everybody else, but I'm more or less okay. Trying to get some work done here by studying, which is pretty weird for me, that is. It's very rarely that I pull out my books and start to do some study on the fly for comic book things. And yes, I actually do mean pulling out the books. Yesterday, you guys could not see me, but I had a plethora of books on my lap as I was looking back and forth for references, trying to find bigger, better situations which I could use as examples for the comic. Because these books I mentioned, Frame the Ink and Frame Perspective, I do have the physical books. So whenever I need to do some research on ideas, on anything really, I pop out those books and get down to studying them. And also, even though there is a natural transition of color between the brightest and darkest tones, I am also trying not to make them too plain and obvious in here. I'll try and keep them very muted as well. And very isolated. And even though I am also using, the eyedropper to pick up new colors from the picture, I'm also trying to eyeball some colors. Not always you're gonna have a trusty picture perfect reference to copy from. So sometimes you gotta eyeball things and improvise and go with your guts. If your guts are saying, this could use some work, then listen to your guts. Most of the time it knows what it's talking about. Sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it does. So listen to it when it talks to you. So this is not perfect. I already don't like this very much. but we're starting to get some definition. We're starting to get something that looks more like the picture than the silhouettes we previously had. Throwing this shrub here. Try and get this little difference on the ground. There's a huge portion of the ground that is lighter than the character. In fact, this entire area of the ground around the character is lighter than he is. Because it's a very flat surface, it's a very brightly colored surface as well. There's very little there for... There's not a whole lot of darkness to be in there. On this opposite side of the mountain though, because it's not getting as much sun directly into it, it can be slightly darker. So I'm gonna default it to our default gray color. And there are this is more like flat-ish ground, this is more background-ish, and this is the foreground with some other shrubs, some plants, some rocks. So there's a little bit more contrast going on here, and this is a shadow of the character who's flying away. We're gonna try and mimic those things over there. But yeah, nonetheless, how are you guys doing so far? Or rather, today. And so far, how has your guys' weeks been until now? We're nearing the weekend. We're still, I think we're still 1 weekend away from that delicious, what's it called? The delicious trick-or-treat holidays you guys have been waiting the entire year for. It's almost upon us. Well, how are you guys feeling about that prospect of being able to go down there and try to spook people or get treats? By the way, I was almost at Hollywood. Halloween is not a thing over here. We only know it from the movies and TV shows that people go out asking for candies, but they show up to people's house and say tricks or treat. And the idea is that the person either gives them candy, which are the treats, or there's some trick that is going to be happening to them. But what is the trick normally? If somebody perchance happens to say, well, give me one of those delicious tricks of yours, what happens then? What do you do if someone comes and says, nah, I'll take the trick? What is the default procedure for that? Because I genuinely do not know. Wanted to throw in some rocks in here, but because this is so dark, the contrast is too big to, you know, feel natural, so. I think this darker patch should be the exception, not the entirety of this spot here on the ground. So on the right hand side of some areas we're gonna have this darkness going on. And also, Rego says that you're good, just doing some chores. And Rego, you also say, also Doug, the guy doing the kick, is sticking his leggy out real far. Oh yeah, he's certainly gonna get some cramps after doing that. And Bones said, studious doggo. Oh, you gotta be. I mean, I could very well just say fuck it and keep working the same way I have always worked. And that is by, you know, by using the default shading techniques I have been using for years now to get everything done. And keep going with it. I'm sure a lot of people would not mind if I kept my current style and didn't change a single thing about it. But I, personally, feel like I've been like my style has been going a little bit stale. Now, I would like to change it and maybe try and improve it. Some of you may disagree, some of you may agree completely, but the gist is I wanna try something new, something different, something more exciting, instead of going out and do the thing that I have always done. I wanna try new things, discover new horizons. But unfortunately, it's very sad indeed. But to go and develop a new style and get comfortable with it, get it going, get the whole thing. It's not easy. There's a lot of study involved. There's a lot of practice. There's a lot of spending days and days and days, if not weeks, if not years even, testing things out, trying to develop this style, trying to get things to work, figuring things out. It takes a while. A style doesn't get born out of nothingness. And it's this whole studying period that is the blandest, most boring thing ever, because you don't want to completely kill your flow and be like, nah, now I'm gonna keep looking at these pictures until I grasp them. You want to get out there and draw, and you want to do your drawings. You don't want to have to copy other people's drawings. You don't want to stop your flow to work on things that are not productive per se. Because here, this drawing that I'm doing is a study, and as a rule of thumb, you don't post studies, you don't share you do share and show people like, ah, look at this, I have studied this thing / technique / whatever, and people can see your progress and whatnot. But what I'm trying to say is that you don't count your studies as, work per se. Your study is just that, it's a study. And it does not count as work. So on top of the studies, I will still have to go and do the study that I normally do. I mean, on top of my studies, I will still have to go and do the work. That is, doing the comic and whatnot. Also, I completely fucked up the look of this spear thing, but who cares? So I'm gonna get some darker shades for the Alexis's body. Only the left hand side is brighter. But anyway, you don't wanna spend time doing studies because you know that they're not gonna count as work if they're not productive in a way. You can study as much as you want, but when it comes to doing actual work, it's its own thing. So people don't want to waste time studying per se. They want to get down to it and start doing productive things. And that's the fallacy of art, is that studying is necessary. It's very hard, well, not necessarily hard, but it takes forever to improve if you don't take out the time to perform some studies every now and then. And people want to improve fast. They don't want to stay there forever and take days or years before they have some breakthrough or improvement in their art. They want it to be fast, if not instantaneous. Well, there is it. I think most of Alexis's body is more or less done.
Your art tickles my fancy in many ways, done.
Why, thank you, Oni. And thanks for the bits, too. And also, welcome to the stream, Oni. What is up with you? And Stu, you said Momo. And Kaze said good doggo does good styles. Oh, thank you. And Stu, you can't bark, you're a tiger. Oh. You can roar too, true that. A Rain Shaper playing XCOM. Oh, nice. Your weaknesses is resource management. Oh, everybody sucks at that. It's impossible to get good at resource management in games such as XCOM unless you have played it all the way through once. Because when you get to the end of the game, then you get to know what is the most important resource, what is not as good, which is more important to have at any time. But anyway, Marcus said that one time you will get your wolf command. You have to remember one of these days. I will not remember by myself. And then you said also that you're just waking up. Oh. As long as you finish waking up, then everything's a-okay. But continuing on with my rant. You have to dedicate some time, normally free time, to study things. And that's the shittiest thing about art. It's that while you do improve by simply doing it, if you want a better results, you have to study extra and on the side. So this brush that I'm using, normally I have it at a lower opacity. That's so it can do this changes between shades more subtly and more nuanced. That's so I don't need to keep changing shades so constantly, and it feels a little bit more natural. There's a softer change between the darker and the brightest shades. But there's this one picture from the book that I have been studying that I really want to replicate, so I think I'm gonna give it a try next. But on the bad side, it's not an actual real-life picture. It's a picture from Mind. And as I have just said, that's another dangerous fallacy, trying and drawing things from mind rather than from life, because when you draw things from life, you know you're replicating real life like lighting situations, which is normally what you're trying to do most of the time. But when you try to replicate a drawing that someone else has already done, you're getting a second, if not third, pass at this possible situation. So there's even a bigger chance that you will get something wrong, because the person already simplified some things and you're gonna simplify even more things. So down in the end, it's not gonna be as realistic as it would have been if you'd done it as a lifelike reference ever since the beginning. And also, welcome to the stream, Neku. You're even bigger Scrub Lord. How you're doing today? How's the driving lessons going? One of these days, Neku, you're gonna get good enough in driving, hopefully, that you will be able to take on Oni's driving prowess, and you guys are gonna do some very illegal street racings in whatever it is that you guys have decided is your meeting ground for your illegal street racing. But probably your instructor already told you that street racing is illegal as fuck. So you're probably already getting super ready to disconsider all I have told you about street racing. If they have not told you, then keep in mind that street racing is very illegal. Ah, there we go. I think we're done with Alexius. He looks... We can't tell what's going on, more or less. It's a guy holding a couple swords and he's getting ready to kick someone in the... Well, he already kicked someone in the face. And Stu, you say... If XCOM had a way to set up your characters and such beforehand, like customizing your squad before you start the game, so you have a list of random pre-made people to join you instead of randomly generating then customizing them, you would spend hours just customizing people. You can do that actually. Whenever you finish creating someone, you click in Save Character Pool, and whenever you started up a new game, it just pulls people from this character pool instead of, you know, instead of pulling it from your random people thing. And also, Neko, you say Scrib Lord, y'all have a nice stream. Thank you, Neko. On you said, when I get your 4,000 points, I'm going to use them ASAP, unlike your plebs who hoard them. And so you don't think you have anywhere near that many, and you spend it, mostly accidentally, without knowing. Aw. And Rager says, oh, your clothes. And on you said that your husband makes her a hoagie hard. And Tiger, you said, Stu, you said that you shouldn't have told you there is a way to make custom characters like that. You will be spending the next year just making characters. Well, Stu the Tiger, you're in luck. Possibly. Because I'm not sure how savvy you are with games and whatnot, but if you're playing XCOM on the computer, if by whatever chance you're playing XCOM on the computer, you can download this mod called X Soldier, which makes every character become like gigantically buffed characters, or like extremely big, extremely so. And yeah, you can go crazy, go nuts creating buff characters to combat the aliens. However, because they are buff and the game is, and you know, the modders, they don't want to go and redo a lot of default assets from the game, alas, quote unquote, all these buff characters you end up creating, these buff soldiers, they are mostly shirtless. But yeah, you can always go there and check it out. No, this is too bright. Damn, what am I doing? In fact, maybe if it doesn't break my game, I will try and get that going next time I get to streaming XCOM. I'll get the buff characters, things going on. Shouldn't be that hard to install mods in that game. And I don't know what else to talk about concerning this picture here. But from doing this, I did already learn something. Doing these, there's many ways of approaching the making of a illustration in Chiaroscuro style. One thing I did learn for sure is that, goddamn, working without a line art of sorts, a sketch, just trying to eyeball silhouettes and shapes and whatnot, is incredibly annoying. I mean, there's a lot more room for error. I don't have to really nail the shapes to get you guys to understand the feeling that I'm going with. You can understand what is going on without these shapes having to be 100% a match of what you're seeing. But still, it's very annoying to work in this manner. No, I'm just gonna paint you entirely black. Why not? Gonna make it easier to go from black to something brighter, rather than from the mid-tone trying to work all the other tones into it. And only you said that Rego, do it all over your face, give you this auto surprise. And only you said then be specific next time. And still you said you have XCOM on PC. Then dog them. Google it, XCOM 2 X Soldier, and go nuts. Rego says, well, only I'm sure you'll have some of that another time for you. You never said that. And Kazi says, you're Bork. And then Kim says, hi Bork, I am Doug. I'm not gonna do that daddy joke today, Kazi boy. I have more going on today, and that is studying. Everybody gets serious when they study, because as someone else once said, you can't study if you don't take it seriously. Or did they? I'm not sure. But it does. Studying is a thing that it feels like you can't do it. Like, if you're having fun, you're probably not doing it right. Possibly that's not true, but it's one of those things that feel like that way, you know? What I'm talking about. Like, I'm having fun studying, so it doesn't... This can't be right. I must be doing something wrong. That's how I imagine studying should go. Speaking of studying, let's break down the old stories. The stories of our youth times. When I was a wee little boy. I did not do a whole lot of studying back in my school days. Because most subjects in school I always grasped them pretty well just by being in class. I didn't feel like I needed to study to grasp it any further. I already had a good enough understanding of what was being said just by paying attention to the class. And paying attention quote unquote, because most of my paying attention was like, sure, you keep talking, I'm gonna be here scribbling buff man in my notebooks and whatnot. Not really. I tried to scribble other things, such as buff doggles, in my notebooks. And as a result, I never really studied much. So I never really got, quote unquote, what is this whole studying thing. For me, it never felt like something you could go and do. For me, it has always been this sort of thing where you pay attention, someone does it, kind of showing an example of sorts, and you just pay attention to it, and just by watching you grasp it. And all throughout my life, that has been the way of it. Most things that I learn better by watching someone do it as they do it and explaining how they're doing it, rather than me just closing, isolating myself and getting a lot of books and trying to figure things out by myself. I grasp things much better if I see someone doing it and see how they are doing it. And if they throw in some explanations on why and how they're doing things the way they're doing, even better. So, school-wise, I was never truly a good boy. And now that I have to go and study these things on my own, it's kind of hard to get this. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this artist that I'm gonna mention right now. If I can remember his name. It's Hungry Paws. He's an artist, a furry artist, who has an awesome style, Has an awesome painting style. That is, his anatomy could use some work. But painting wise, my dog, he does some deliciously awesome things. You should look him up. He's incredibly good. But he was not been this good. If you look up his gallery, his Furfinity gallery of drawings and whatnot, you will see that, you know, he did have, you know, passable drawings, but they were not amazing drawings. And then he got into a 1.5 year hiatus, and then he came back with a deliciously new art style, and something you would look at and say, holy shit, how did you get this good this fast? And then if you ask him, he will be more than glad to tell you that he be more than glad to say that, hey, I went around, got me some art books, started studying them, and now here I am. You also got some of those video tutorials from Schoolism. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Schoolism, but they are a place that has art tutorial videos with real industry professionals going there and talking out about their techniques and how they approach certain things. Schoolism is pretty good, but the thing is, you need to have some incredible dedication and self-control to tell yourself, you know what, I'm gonna go and out of my own volition gonna pick up these videos, these lengthy videos, like half an hour long videos. I'm gonna watch them and pay attention to them and study with them. Not everybody has that kind of drive. I tried to do it once and I didn't have it in me to sit down and watch a 30-minute video on how to do this or that, especially if you're paying this. Like, I'm not sure this works for me. But it did work wonders for him, so I do get the feeling that studying methods vary from person to person. Some people have interesting methods, some people have less interesting methods, but what matters is that you're able to study and make some results in the end of the day. So long as you can get to those results, then everything's okay. I don't want to print. God damn it. Wrong keyboard shortcut. See, now I've decreased the opacity for this brush. Now I can make a nuanced transition between the colors. So this is far from perfect, or, you know, from being something I would show my parents and be like, hey, look at this, mom and dad, I made this album all by myself. It's far from that, but it's good. I like the way that this has turned out. Also now I said fuck it and I decreased my brush opacity that so I can give this more nuanced variation between tones and colors and whatnot. So there we have it. The original is on the top, my version is on the bottom. What do you guys think? Did I get close enough? Did I get too far off? What are your thoughts on this? And Stu, you say, damn, no one set any up. They didn't really. I mean, there's like 2 quotes, but they're not as good. Unfortunately. And Oni, you said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Doug, are you playing your art tunes? Of course I am. You have good music, Zoni. I already told you so many times. I'm playing them. And then you say that these things will never be by Warak. You can't see by the really high quality demand. But this is the song. Oh, I see. Rego says Zach has so much, he's a hoarder. Zach, no, you're an earner. True that. You earn those points. And then you said your art is uninteresting and ugly as fuck. You don't get how you scrubs like it. It's not bad, Oni. There's a lot of room for improvement, but it's not bad. It's on a good enough, you know, it's on a good enough level that we can call it professional. But like I said, there is room for improvement. A regular is a hoarder that swims in it because it's actually good. I mean. Zach and Kaze, you guys think he looks both nice and awesome. Why, thank you. So this, like I said, I tried to do by using a lot of shades of gray. Let me get my book here. You guys cannot see the book because it's a physical book. I'm sorry about that. But this book here, the guy who did it, who illustrated the book, he has something around 6, if not 8 shades of gray going on. And whereas I use all of them. So maybe you can try and reduce it a little bit. Let's see if I can do something like that. I don't have these on hand. I did get it because, you know, because I own this book, I did download the PDF of it, so I could check it out digitally on any given time. But since I don't know where the PDF file is, I'm just gonna snap a photo, send it to me on Telegram, and then upload it here on the thing. That's how I normally do things. I just send it up on Telegram to myself. Normally people who would, you know, use a scanner, they would have a scanner around, and if they have this book or sketch they want to use as reference, they scan it up. I don't have a scanner though. So what I have is a very good cell phone with a very good camera, so that's what I'm gonna go and do. I got the camera, snap the photo, and I'm gonna throw it here into the canvas. And also, Zach, you say 50 Shades of Grey. Yes, but let's try to reduce it to maybe 5 or 6 shades of grey and start to use more blacks into the colors. And Kaza said that's a good looking book. Is it? Where do we have it? There we go. It's a smaller photo than I was hoping for, and it's gonna be hard for you guys to see. It's black and white as feck, but look at this. By the way, this darker tone here, it's actually black. I guess the photography quality isn't that good. But anyway, in here we have these 3 panels that the guy did to illustrate continuity. There's this first panel where is this. Let me hide this background layer, that's so you can see better. There's this background layer here. Let's say it's a cowboy or whatever. So he's riding down this mountain passage. You can see some way smaller cowboys there, very far ahead from him, and you can see that most of him is black because he's extremely close to the camera. This tree thing on around, it's also black. This mountain that they're going through is also very black. There's mountains on the background that are also black, and there's a lot of composition going on. They did it this way because it better illustrates the doing it like this better illustrates, you know, kind of closes up the whites is the area that you can really see. So you can see the silhouette of this man aiming a gun, and here you can see 3 horsemen, and you can tell that he's aiming at them because of how everything is disposed here. This other panel is, he uses a shitload of black. I would wager, I guess, that 40, if not 50% of this entire panel is black. He is extremely close up on the camera, so there's a lot of black going on. There's some darker shades of gray. The only white he uses here, and isn't even really true white, it's for some highlights on the gun, and that's it, and the brim of the hat. That's where he uses white, but other than that, it's all shades of gray. And then here, this pathway is also white. I don't know if I took out the colors. If I put on the colors, it's gonna get easier to see. I don't think so. And then the bottom of the mountain is black. The top of the mountain is also black, and the horsemen are also black. Also some details on the gun, some line art. I wanted to have I want to do this new comic also possibly with a line art such as this, where it's more sketchy and kind of more artistic, but not necessarily. It's very artistic. It's very sketchy as well, but you still have a gorgeous amount of definition, so you can tell what is going on, even if the details are not, even if it's not like super crisp and super sharp. And lastly, we have this other panel here on the bottom. I'm gonna say that 30% of this panel is black, if not 50. With the character on the right, so we never really get to see who the character is. All we know is that he has bushy eyebrows and a head. And here he is taking aim and getting ready to shoot. But we can see there's a lot of black. A lot of the panel is black, and there's all other sorts of shades of gray here. But other than that, you can see that he really does not try to go like I did, and just this area here is too busy with things going on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 perhaps shades of gray just in this area here, down here, and none of them are pure white or pure black. So that sucks. And suicide, we need others now. Rego says now I hope we don't fail, Stu. Because if you do, you lose all the points. Because you say the Petty Black song, yeah, that would have been a good song. And yes, Stu, I don't think it added you because you threw in more points than you had, or something happened. I guess the bot did fail to add you. I don't know why the bot is being so unresponsive as of late. I guess it's a problem with my internet. It might be, I'm not sure. But my internet has been acting up this entire month. I have not yet gotten around to fix it, but I do apologize. Sorry. But anyway, I did a whole lot of explaining about this Chiaroscuro Marco Matteo Master is using in his book. But now what I'm gonna do is illustrate this other picture here of Alexio and Woman McGee. This other panel here. I'm gonna illustrate it down here and hope for the best. This way though, I'm gonna cheat like the shitty bastard I am. I'm not gonna go and work, you know, in honorable ways. First of all, I'm gonna delete this overlapping things. I'm gonna get this picture here. Lower its opacity. Pop out a new sketching pen. Start to sketch it out, like we have seen here in Marcus's book. He uses a very sketchy line work going on with his drawings, and I want to try and mimic that as well, because part of what I like about his style is not just this chiaroscuro he does, it's also the quality of his line work. So I'm gonna do some soft tracing, or rather there's no soft about it, I'm straight up tracing, there's no other way around it, I'm tracing. And a lot of you may have heard during your lifetimes that, oh no, tracing is bad. And let me tell you, it is. It is bad as fuck if you do what people normally do when they trace something. And that is, they trace a drawing or anything really. Whatever they have in their tracing in their criminal minds to go and do today. People normally go trace over something, and then after they have this tracing done, they go and publish their traced drawing and says, ah, this is a thing I did. And that is the problem. It's not, the problem isn't the tracing. The problem is that you're taking You're taking credit for something you didn't do. You're straight up stealing someone else's artwork by saying that it's yours when it truly isn't. That is the bad part of tracing. It's not tracing itself, is when you trace and say that you're the one who did it. But if you're tracing for, you know, studying, or if you're tracing to get a better grasp of how something works, and then you go and throw enough difference to it that it doesn't feel like a tracing anymore, by which I don't mean tracing is okay so long as you disguise it really well, but I mean, like, if you do a tracing but then you also use that as a knowledge to try and use your tracing as knowledge and try to get something else going for it, such as you trace a drawing but then you start to change the proportions, the entirety of the drawing. For example, say I'm just tracing the pose, but then I change the entire clothing of the character. I can't really call that a trace anymore, because I was mostly using the pose as a reference and didn't trace the entirety of the drawing. Of course, you're always encouraged to not try and completely copy over a pose, but that's not a huge offense on an artist's eye if you use a photo or another drawing to copy the pose, for example, via tracing. So people get this thing in their minds that tracing is bad, and you know, dishonest artists, they're gonna keep tracing like the shitty horrors they are. But honest artists, they will get too afraid of, you know, being accused of things to try this out. And there's a lot of things you can learn by tracing. Tiger, say you feel excluded now. Don't feel excluded, Tiger. It's just the good boy bot being a lazy boy bot. And then you say that if you see these, send booty pics of your husband. Of him? No. And also you say that tracing is a sin, a worse sin than you. It isn't. I just went on a lengthy explanation telling how it is not a bad thing to trace a drawing. It's almost like you're not listening to me, Oni. Dog damn you. Dog damn you all the way up to K9 hell. So what I'm gonna try and do with this one is do like Marcus's artwork and try to work whites and black, like pure white and jet black into the drawing, into the colors and whatnot. And I don't know if you guys ever read a comic or saw a comic book that is black and white. Comic books that are black and white are marvelous because a lot of them has these marvelously awesome artists that fill in gigantic blocks of areas with black, and they use that as a composition and as a style and whatnot, and it makes things look beautifully awesome. So working black into your drawing, if you do it right, in my book, it's a very welcome addition. Also, you may notice that I'm going all willy-nilly with which part of the drawing I'm tracing over. And I do that very constantly. Sometimes I try to analyze the drawing and go to work my way around the part that feels like it makes the most sense to me or is the most interesting to draw. Sometimes I feel like drawing this part of the drawing is more interesting than the other, so I skip over a big area and go straight up to the interesting part. But sometimes I simply cannot make heads or tails of what's going on. For this case here, this picture is kind of badly illuminated. Well, not badly, but it's dark. And because of that, it's very, very hard to tell apart some details. Like, we can definitely get the silhouette, but some details like here and here, it gets fuzzy. What is the leg and what is the arm now? So taking a break, going back a few notches and trying to figure things out by working on another area is a very welcome part of the process. If you're having any sort of problem with what's going on. So here I cannot even figure out what the hell is going on with his right leg, but I know that part of his armor is clipping through the floor. So that kind of throws a wrench into this drawing. Let's try not to pay too much attention to that. And also, in that drawing from Marcus's, he was drawing this cowboy dude on top of a horse, and also aiming down a repeater rifle or a trench gun. I don't even know what that is called, but anyway. As he was drawing it, Marcus decided to throw in some details in some areas and not in others. If we go back to it, you can see that, for example, he does not throws a whole lot of detail into the character's clothing in this picture because, you know, far away the rifle also doesn't get a lot of detail. But in this picture here, the rifle gets a lot of details compared to anything else in him. So the only things that are getting details is his hands and the rifle. Same thing in this picture here, because that's the focus point of that panel, is the fact that he's taking aim and is getting ready to shoot someone or somebody. Well, someone or something. So that's the important bit. He decided that since nothing else matters that much, everything else can be darkened. Or just get some highlights here and there, but they don't need as much detail as the characters do. So that goes to show that not everything needs equal amounts of importance. If you can figure out what is the focus of the drawing, of the illustration, of the panel. And Oni says, thank Dogger, art is ugly to trace. It's not, Oni. And also, hello there, Tiger, welcome to the stream. What is up with you? And Oni said you was told tracing was bad and you got lectured in art class for that. Well, whoever told you that is a shitface, and you should not have listened to them. Or rather, I shouldn't say shitface because that's an insult. I should rather say coitus face. Because coitus is the polite word for fucking. So he's a coitus face. Or she, I don't know. Whoever taught you that tracing is bad. And also, hello there, Wolf Rain. Welcome to the stream. Today we're not playing games as it happens. We're doing artwork. I'm doing some studies for Chiaroscuro art style, and you know, it's getting slightly out of control. As things always do here on my stream. But anyway, how are you doing today? How are you doing too, Tiger? How are the newcomers doing? And look at this. Look at this finger here drooping down. I mean, can you really tell me that your hand is doing this? Come on, game. No, I'm gonna ignore that finger there, that finger dangling. It looks broken, if anything. Also, why does everything has to clip through the floor? Dog damn it, game. I mean, I get it. In a game, it's okay for things to clip through the floor, but in an illustration, it kinda gets a little... kinda harder to get people to buy it if they see things clipping through other things. Can't really tell it's an artistic decision or what have you. And Rego says that tracing is good in certain situations, like for learning anatomy. Yes, for example. And Kanza, you say to force a focus spot. Yes. If you darken everything else and just have, you know, the area that has the most contrast is normally the focus spot. Such as with this previous picture here. The focus spot is on the foreground because that's the area that has the most contrast. The background, even though it's a very detailed statue and a very big dense mountain with things going on, it's not as detailed as... It doesn't have as much contrast in this composition because it's not the focus. You don't really care for it. And Wolf Rain, you said you're just lurking a bit here listening to music. Oh, nice. We also have some music playing here. But sure, whichever music you feel is best for whatever sort of endeavors you're going through right now. Also, since you're a subwoofer, feel free to request songs if you would like. The command to request songs is !SR for song request, and then you type in a space and put in the link for the YouTube song you would like to share with us. So whatever this chain thing here on her belt is, they certainly went bananas with throwing detail into this thing. But yeah, we're making some progress with this one. Even though a shitload of stuff is clipping through the floor. I guess it also gives us an interesting opportunity to throw in so much black in certain areas here that you know, certain black areas blend with the characters and the background. And also, hello there, Shadow Ka. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the raid, I guess. And yeah, there's no notification of a raid. I thought my internet was bad before, but now it's ludicrously bad. It's not taking people commands to join the raids, it's not notifying raids anymore. Heists, I mean, before. After this stream is done, I'm gonna go and restart my internet modem. Because this is unacceptable. There's bad and then there's this. This is just straight up. It's just straight up. You can't even do anything with this sort of internet going on. But anyway, welcome to the stream, Shadow, and thanks for the raid. How are you doing today in this possibly lovely Tuesday that is happening? By the way, you missed my previous streams. I was playing some XCOM. It was fun. Now I'm studying art live, but I'm having fun while studying, so I guess I'm doing it wrong, like we already discussed. Alright, I should have done this while I was working, but I didn't, so now I have to go back and do it all over again. The idea now is to fully paint with black every area that I wanna. Every area, more or less. Because we want to paint this with shades of gray, but we also want to blocking huge areas with black and with have some highlights in white. So we're gonna have to figure that one out. Nonetheless, Kaze said most Japanese mangaka said that they learned from tracing moments or poses they liked. As long as you don't take credit. Yes, exactly. Antager, you're doing alright. Oh, that's great to hear. I am seeing on Discord that you're playing XCOM 2 yourself. How are you liking the game? You probably already played it before, but how are you liking the game again? God damn, they even threw in the detail on the arrows that the end that you put against the bowstring is kinda has a little split on the middle to make sure it adheres to the bowstring easier. That is an actual archery thing, but god damn. No wonder these new games are extremely heavy to run on any computer. This amount of detail. Nothing's gonna be able to run these games. A while ago, in fact, as you know, Final Fantasy 15 and 14 has been in development for a long while, and they have got a whole lot of things done and redone with them. Final Fantasy 14 was so ludicrously bad that they kinda made the game free to play for a while they were remaking it. Now it's a good game. Final Fantasy 15 has been delayed dozens of times. But Final Fantasy 14, there was this, before it went good, there was a lot of players complaining that they could not play the game because when they got to the city, one of the many cities there is, their games would lag incredibly. Like, it would be unplayable due to how laggy it is. And then people started to investigate why the game got so laggy in that area, and it was because there was some plant pots that someone put in the game like as decoration, but it had a ludicrous amount of polygons. Like it had more polygons than even the characters, or maybe not as much, but it had so many polygons, and because they didn't throw one single flower pot, they threw in a lot. They lagged the entire game. And they were like, well, I guess we fucked up. Let's go back to the drawing board. So I guess that sometimes these game devs, they go the extra mile, but the extra mile is like extra lengthy. And it does more bad than it does good. Alright, I guess we have enough detail to start throwing in blocks of black to try and block out some of the thing. Also, I don't know what this is, this whole thing. It could very well be a weapon of some sort, but it's kind of hard to tell. Very hard to tell. And Shadow Kaio said, "You do remember you, right, Doggo friend?" Of course I do. Would not forget about you. And I'm doing good myself. Studying some art because I'm about to start my new comic, and I don't want to go back to comic making, but following my old. But still using the same style I had for my previous comics. I want to try something new. I want to try something more daring, more interesting, and possibly more visually pleasing. So I'm going to try to go back to the classical comic book look, which is black and white, and with huge blocks of black, and to try and create a high contrast chiaroscuro composition for comics. And see if it sticks or not. If it's good, I might keep it. If it doesn't, I might redo it. Might go back to doing it with my current style that I don't think would fit this new comic very much. Yeah, that's how I'm doing. And Kaze said that this stream is in an unacceptable condition. Unacceptable. Onya said wedding color or something else. What should part 3 be? Oh, I see. You guys are talking about things I have no knowledge of. I will never have. And Rego, you said, wedding color. Sorry, I was AFK for a bit there. Everybody is. Everybody has something going on with their lives. Nobody can afford to be, in a stream 24, or no, not 24 hours or 7, but nobody can afford to be in a stream without pause. People need a little break time every now and then. So let's throw in this layer to make everything black and white. In case you guys are not super duper aware, You can do this in any coloring program, in any good software, illustration software. Just get in a layer, paint it fully black, and now in the layer effect modes, there's, you know, multiply, overlay, all those things. On the all the way to the bottom, there's color possibly. And what you do by painting a layer black and turning color is that you take away colors. So everything becomes grayscale. So you can really analyze things without taking color into consideration. You can work much better. If your focus is this, if you're not trying to think of colors right about now, give this one a try. This is a technique I learned by going to some what's it called? I don't know what they're called, but a couple years ago, the college where I was going to and had classes at, they had every year they have this kind of week where the faculty kind of just lays back and does nothing, and they get a lot of people to come and do talks on literally anything. And each and every department of the college has, you know, their get guests to come and talk about things that are relevant to that department. And since we were in design, we got a lot of artists and whatnot come to give talks about, you know, design things and art things and whatnot. And this one time there was this guy who is a comic book colorist. He came in to teach people how to color comics. And I said, why not? Gotta learn from someone who has actually worked in the industry as a colorist. So I went there, took his class. He didn't taught me any groundbreaking techniques. In fact, it taught me a even slower, more convoluted technique than the one I'm used to, but I committed it to mine nonetheless. And at the end, he taught us this trick for, you know, pulling out the grayscale in any picture you have. But for the longest time I didn't use this technique because Clip Studio did not have this mode. It was only this whole color thing was just in Photoshop. Clip Studio did not have this. So for the longest time I didn't use it. And then one day, suddenly, randomly, Clip Studio released an update and they highlighted some things in their update. This was not one of the highlights, but it was a thing that they added. I mean, it was very unexpected, but welcoming. It was very welcome as well. And then I started using this method every now and then. Because the general idea is not to, you know, pull out the grayscale and check your picture to see what it looks like in grayscale. The idea of this technique is to, you know, to pull out the grayscale, is to check values in your drawing. Whenever you're coloring something, you want to make sure the values are far apart.
O Dodo, teach me how to be pure, thy soul will be blessed with humbleness.
I shall. But first, what you guys have been saying. When you said treatment should be pure, Rego says that it's impossible. And then you said, but only you like to sin. Rego says we enjoy you the way you are. It's not that hard. I mean, it is hard, but it's not that hard. So, only to become pure or purer, keep this to mind. Whenever you feel the urge to do sinful things, excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, relieve yourself, then come back and be like, well, sorry, had to do something. And if possible, always avoid situations where you get the urge to be sinful. If you feel the urge coming, excuse yourself, or don't even put yourself in that situation to begin with. And admittedly, it's not as easy, but with practice, we'll learn how to be slightly more pure. But that is not to say that you should be pure 24/7. It's just to say that if you feel like you're gonna do sinful things, and doing the sinful thing is a regrettable decision right now, or something you are recognizing like, well, this will have bad consequences in the future, and I would better off avoiding it, then now you know how to avoid it. But if you're in a safe environment and to be sinful is a thing you desire, then go for it. Oh, a thing you and your whoever is with you desire. It has to be consensual between both persons. Then go for broke. Sin all night long. But anyway, values wise, the idea is to have values far apart in the same area. So for example, when working on his arm, I want to make sure that I don't have conflicting values in regions that are close together. And the reason for that is that by having values too close together, even if the colors are different, like you have blue and then you have yellow, are very distinct in different colors, but if the values are close, or if you throw in a grayscale and they look close in value, so they look the same shade of gray, it's gonna be confusing for a person to glance over at your page. So say if they're looking at it, they're not really paying attention, they're just kind of glancing through the page, through the comic, they're gonna get confused with it. And that is a thing you should try and avoid. And that is a thing they taught us in that class I attended. To check for values and make sure they are not conflicting in nearby locations. And then I left that class knowing a little bit more about coloring for comics. Or rather, illustration in general. There was this one time in my life where I was really into, you know, taking classes and getting to learn from other people. And then I got really poor after I spent lots and lots of money into classes. There is a illustration class I wanted to take. Too bad that it's in another city, and you know, traveling there is kind of a big expense I cannot afford to make. If I could, dog them, I would be there already having classes on illustration. The city, by the way, being my hometown. Problem is that these classes, they only happen like twice a year. Actually, they do happen all year long, but throughout the year they're like, nah, we're gonna spread it into 1 hour class per day, and it's gonna take you 2 months to learn the whole gist of it. But during January and June, I guess, they open vacation vacation classes, pretty much summer classes or whatnot. So people who are not, you know, currently having any sort of anything going on with their lives can go there and try and learn the whole thing in like a couple of days. You get a super intensive 2 days to 1 week worth of classes, but those classes are like 4-hour longs. So you're really gonna go there and get the most out of your time. But I could go for like just a week, have these classes, then come back, and that would work out for me. Problem is, it's kind of expensive to go there on short notice. So ideally I should prepare myself to set up a date to go, but I can't really reserve now a class that will only open up in January. And the class I wanted to take has already filled. Apparently those fill very extremely fast. Nonetheless, welcome to the stream, Chandler. How are you doing today? And on you said someone squeezed sweetened condensed milk in your small doggo mouth. You has a sweet tooth now. I don't have that here with me on the ready only. I'm afraid you're gonna have to ask any of the other good boys in here. And then Etrio said, first of all, welcome to the stream. Second of all, you said only a day and a half until you have a full week off from school. Oh, that is nice. Taking breaks every now and then is very important to keeping your sanity about you. Now what I'm doing here is closing off some areas to paint and close this entire area down here. So now we don't have to deal with the clothes clipping through the floor anymore. And Anatrio said still have assignments to do, but those will be done this weekend. Oh, that's nice. See, you're a responsible boy. I'm nowhere near that responsible when it comes to things. Unfortunately. So now blocking off something with black serves two purposes. First is to, you know, get some real contrast between two different areas, so the viewer can know what is going on. And another purpose is to, you know, it's just to look artistically and visually pleasing. So sometimes it doesn't have to follow physics very closely. It can, there's some artistic liberties you can take. You don't have to sweat yourself over getting it perfectly. Arego says the bot died. Press F to pay respects. Oh no. I don't think the bot has died. Or has it? Could it have died? Let me take a while to go and check if the good boy bot has gone down RIP'd. Which is weird too. No, the bot is still alive. So in English you guys say RIP, which is rest in peace, everybody knows that. But then this one time I was watching this Spanish series, and in the grave, instead of, you know, writing RIP, which is rest in peace, they wrote DEP, which is Descansa en Paz, or the Spanish equivalent for that. And that's when it dawned on me, like, possibly every country has their own equivalent of the rest in peace thing. And until then, I had never considered that. And that's interesting, just saying. And Anatru says, "Lo, you have been programmed to be a responsible boy. If it wasn't, then other people in your classes wouldn't know what the heck is going on." And Rhaegar said that Anatru is a bot also. And only says, "Great job, Dickweed, good boy." It's not a Dickweed. It's a botweed. Also, this is another theme the book really emphasizes in some chapters, is that for some surfaces, for example, some areas you can just straight up block off with black. Some areas, they're not dark enough to be blocked by black, but they're not entirely bright either. And so there's some light areas in there. And these light areas, they might look uninteresting and unappealing. And one way of fixing that, to give a better sense of shape to that area, is to throw in some textures. And that's the part when you guys ask me, "Pray tell, Doug, how in the world do I apply some textures to it?" When I say texture, I don't mean literally to the digital artist shortcut of getting a texture picture and plopping it up on top of the drawing. By texture, I mean like here on his cloth. His cloth shenanigan here. I throw in some lines that kind of dictates a little bit of the shape and the motion that is going on. These counts as textures. You're getting a really flat surface and giving it some sense of motion, some sense of shape, but not by blocking areas with black like I did before. I'm giving it some sense of motion and shape by throwing some loose lines. So you don't even have to change the brush you're using, the tool. With your default brush you can already do these textures. So here, for example, I have no idea what sort of texture of what surface is this, but I can always just throw in some cross-hatching here to get this area going and looking a little bit more interesting. Nothing too big, nothing too overdone. Something to throwing a little bit more into that area. Of course, though, there's better ways to do that. I'm not taking a whole lot of time to fix those little things, because after I'm done here with the sketch, quote unquote, I'm also gonna go back and turn color. By color I mean shades of gray, to try and get some areas to pop out, some areas to look brighter, some areas to look darker and whatnot. But so far I can tell one thing for sure. This method is slightly lengthier to do than my previous method. Where I just would go throwing the colors and then get a multiplier layer and start throwing what is the word? Throwing some shade by painting it up on top of the picture. In here I'm having to manually go and shade some areas on the sketch phase. Which takes a considerable longer amount of time, especially given how much detail this drawing has. Possibly when I'm doing my own drawings there will be considerably less detail going on the characters and on the scenery, on everything. But all things considered, this is taking me longer than it probably would have if I were to just do the line art and then color and shade the way I normally do. But it's only been taking me longer to do it because, well, it might be because it's a harder method to do and more it takes more, you know, it takes longer to do by itself. Or it may be because I'm not used to this, so I'm still trying to get the hang of it. And whenever you trying out a method you're not familiar with, you're probably gonna waste a lot of time trying to get the hang of it. And it will take you some time until you master it enough that you can do it fast. Without stumbling upon it. Stumbling around it, rather. So now all I have left to do is this gauntlet here, the bow quiver, and possibly throwing some work on his face, and I'm gonna be done with Alexia's, and then we're gonna take a look at how it's looking without the picture underneath. Arego says, is that better? Dick Nugget. It might be. And also you have around 20 texture brushes, you use 3. Same with me. I don't like using. I don't like I am not a huge fan of having 300 tools, all of which do a very specific function. I like to have one tool with which you can do 300 functions. So I have my sketching brush, which is this one I'm currently using, and I like the way it looks, the way it feels. It's pretty good. It doesn't. There's a little bit texture going on, but it's not a texture that, you know. This texture is not. It's not a texture that completely makes this brush only good for one thing. It's more of a texture that tries to mimic what pencil feels on paper, so it gets a more traditional art look to it, paper wise. So you get a little bit of that with this brush, and because it's a very rough brush, there also isn't any little specks left over when I erase. Because I think that happens when people try to use very soft brushes, or rather, very soft pencils, when illustrating, is that they say, nah, this doesn't look good. Now they go and use a soft eraser, and they erase around a bunch. But there's always some leftover parts of the pencil that they didn't erase fully, so it lingers there, and eventually it ends up mixing with other layers, and you can't really tell what's going on, and then you have to go back and go deleting lots of little specks of pencil that was left over. And if you can avoid that by having a very rough brush, that is good. And also I like how the rough brush gives me a lot of definition right away. I like a softer brush, which I would need several passes to make a single line. Or I would need to press my pen really hard against the canvas, and that would just serve to wear down my tablet stylus faster. And that's best avoided because this pen, the tablet stylus, is extremely expensive to buy a spare, so I'd rather not get into that if I can avoid it. I think we're more or less done here. But on top of that, this brush, it serves all sorts of purpose. So it's good for sketching. A version with a stabilizer is good for doing line art. It looks good visually, and I don't even have to put a whole lot of effort to make it look good. It looks good by default. Of course, though, this is a custom brush. It doesn't comes with does not comes with Clip Studio. But it's extremely easy to make. I made it myself, and I just needed a little fiddling with the configurations and throwing some things here and there, and then I had it. Didn't take me too long to get around making it. It's not impossible at all to replicate. It's pretty easy. And then I have the painting brushes, but like we just said, since I'm gonna try and do a different sort of painting for this comic, I'm possibly not gonna use those brushes anymore. So I'm gonna use even less brushes, if anything, going forward now. And Stu, you said you're gonna have to go. Thanks for the stream again. Take care, all. Oh, sure things, Stu. Take care of yourself and stay awesome, dude. I'll be seeing you later. And then the trio, you say have a good day. All you say is QC while you go mark your territorial sin. Arego says Borf Shep. Zach says Doug, you gotta go now. Culinary classes start again on Monday and you gotta go shopping for things to prepare. Sure thing, Zach. Thank you so very much for stopping by and hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. And I wish you have a deliciously awesome day. Or rather night, evening. And speaking of cooking things, I have, shamefully or not, spent a lot of time in recent memory binge watching a YouTube channel with a YouTube cooking channel. So it's kind of why even? But it's fun. I learned that it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of videos going on in this channel. There are about all possible things, food related. But my favorite series of video are this one where this girl from the kitchen, she tries to come up with her own. She tries to recreate traditional snacks and candies. She tries to recreate the Cheetos. She tries to recreate Twizzlers and other candies you guys have that I don't have. We don't have over here in Brazil. And then she goes about it and goes nuts in the kitchen trying to recreate those things. But the more fun part is that she goes and says, "Huh."
Bork, 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 kitty.
Thanks for the bits, Annie, and for those delicious borks. But they go around. She goes around. She reads the ingredients on the back of the box where the candy comes in, and she's like, "Huh? So these are the ingredients. It takes this, 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 and that." And let's see which ones of these we can replace and how we go around doing that. So she goes to the test kitchen and starts trying to replicate those snacks. And the cool, most interesting thing for me watching that is to see she goes like, I'm gonna try this recipe for making these little things and see how it goes. And she knows the recipe by head now of this one thing she's gonna try, and she goes give it a try, and the taste or the feel, the texture, something does not looks right, and she goes like, nah, this does not looks right, let me try something else. Then she goes and she knows what to do, like, oh no, this is true, this isn't puffing enough, let me add some baking soda. Oh no, this is too stiff, let me try putting less flour. She knows what to throw in and what not to put in because of how experienced they are in kitchen, and not just in kitchen but in ingredients, chemistry and physics. They know how these ingredients react to all sorts of to different temperatures, to different cooking times, to different things. It's really fascinating when you see the amount of knowledge that goes into kitchen and cooking things. In a way, it's kind of like illustration, except that in illustration normally the artist normally masters one style of art and then they go nuts with it. But every now and then they do learn other styles of art when they want to do something different, like today For the purposes of this, I want to do something slightly more artistical. For the purpose of that, I want to do something more cartoony. And we also spend a lot of time, you know, trying to learn composition, color, lighting. There's a lot of things we go about learning to try and really get the hang of what we are trying to show with our illustrations. And it was fascinating. No wonder I binged a lot of videos in the channel in the past couple of days. I have this ought to give this some sort of scene texture, like this thing is clearly stitched together, but the stitches they're not that apparent, and if I were to go and try to draw each individual stitch, it would be possibly could get confused with something else, so I decided to not do that. And now I think we're done. Now let's go to do Alexis's face. Also throwing some more darkness around here. And Tiger says a good cooking is fun, Doug. It is, actually. Arego says, really? You keep dying. Oh, man. And Atreus said, well, time to make your way to your next class of the day. Environmental statistics. That does not sound like fun, but I hope you have some. But still, thank you so very much for joining the stream today, Anatru, and have a good day, I guess. And only you're mad because people were hitting on your stag on Twitter. What stag? What? Even? And only says you should put his off the game, Doug. That's kinda hard to do, Oni. So I'm not even gonna bother you. I'm confident in your abilities to take care of your stag man and get the other people away from him. You have the ability, so I'm confident you can use them wisely. So this is trickier because this is the dark part of the face, quote unquote. But there's also beard, which is just as dark, so guess I'm gonna darken out some parts here and there. Darken out most of the ear of it. It's not gonna, you know, be super duper visible in the final drawing. I think that for the face, I'm not gonna use a whole lot of black. I kind of want to, because it really makes some areas pop when you use dark black on the face. But it's so delicate to decide which parts I'm gonna darken and which parts I'm not going to darken. There we go. These parts are darkened by default, but now I'm gonna throw in some erase some of this black to highlight the beard, or it might have been. And paint the mustache, the beard by hand, the rest of it. So it looks more or less good. Because since we're using grayscale, I can't use color to tell what is beard and what is not beard. So might as well paint it by hand with the black, instead of, you know, hoping that one of the grayscales really throws in some beardness into it. And also, hello there, Arium. Welcome to our K9 pack, and thank you so very much for that follow. I hope you like it here. We're doing some illustration, trying to learn how to chiaroscuro, how to apply some chiaroscuro into some illustrations. So here, the nose, I certainly fucked it up. Not sure if this is good, if this is bad, but I'm gonna go with this the way it is. Let's try and see how well or how bad it works. And also, female companion, I'm not gonna bother with illustrating you right now. I mean, doing the whole rest, because as you guys can see, it took me 1 hour to do this thing here with values and thumbnails on the left, and it took me this other hour and a half to do this very detailed line art of Alexius. That's because I didn't even get to doing his female companion, so I'm gonna ignore her for now, hide the background picture. So now you can see, if all we have is black and white, it looks good-ish. Not gonna say I'm super happy with the way it's turned out, but it does not look entirely bad. I do think there is a huge problem though, a gigantic problem with this drawing here the way it is. Tiger, you said that you gotta keep him enticed only, sweep him off his feet metaphorically. Regal says exactly, be protective, but also make him know why you're better than the others. And Only you said, "Doug, damn it!" Just when you think you have it, you get put off by the time. What time? What you talking about? Oh, the good boy pounds, you mean? Oh, don't worry too much about it, honey. But anyway, there are some clear problems here. Also, I forgot to do this bowl thing here on the left. Destroy some texture, some little here and there, and there you go, it's done. So clearly we have a problem. Let's pull back Marcus's picture that so you guys can see what the problem is. In his drawings, it's very clear the difference between one area and the other, and the areas he paints black, they're very big, very huge, and very decisive. It's either black or it's not. Whereas I try to do something different. I try to do black, but also throwing some small details here and there. And the thing is, when you go working grayscale, I mean, this is good, but if you look it down from a... When you work with comic, you work with sizes bigger, and then you reduce it. And when you reduce it, there's so much details going on that you can't tell what's what. So that is a huge problem. I threw in too much details in so many areas. This would be good-ish if this was a bigger picture that was gonna be displayed in its full size, but since it's a small picture that's not gonna be displayed in full size, you get very confused because there's too much details going on. So that's a problem. Rather, that's a thing I got very wrong. But now, just for fun, let's try throwing in some shades of gray here. Seeing where this goes. Let's spend the entirety of Alexios with this one color, then we can more simply just color him with something else. It's always a good idea, by the way, when drawing to fuel this area with color, instead of trying to go very detailed into smaller areas here and there. And also, hello there, Sinzo, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And also, you said nice things. You said he uses a very sketchy style in comparison. Yeah, he does. I'm trying to mimic it, but I can't very well grasp it. So let's count. Aside from the black he's using pure white. He's using 1, 2, maybe 3 shades of gray. And they're not that radically different. He's using light gray, well, 3 shades of light gray. He's using 2 medium grays and a dark gray. And maybe this, and I'm not sure if this is dark gray or if this is black. But let's try and do that. Let's try and use very few shades of gray. I'm gonna get these areas here for the lighting. This area that is more illuminated, let's get it going with very bright shades of gray. Or rather, straight up white. And I mean, it doesn't look bad, but like I said, it's too detailed. So whenever someone tries to look at it, they're gonna be confused. Because they're gonna be seeing the smaller... Since they're gonna be seeing it reduced, they're gonna be seeing a lot of colors. There's no way they're not gonna get confused by the amount of details they're seeing. There's just no way. Let's also get some darker shades of gray. We already have the default one, which is good. But we could always have more shades of gray. Kinda like how my drawing is not as good and he looks so emotionless. He looks like he's dead inside, almost. Or he's so bored that his face has gone full paralysis. This sad state of sure, whatever. So all in all, I think that this experiment was a failure. I'm not happy with how this turned out at all. In the least. To recap, I'm not entirely sure on how I can go around choosing good shades of gray to illuminate the subject, like to get a good ambience lighting going on. So I'm either left to eyeball it and try to get it right by going by what feels right, or either I try to eyeball what feels right when it comes to the shades of gray I'm using, or I try to copy the reference picture. The problem of copying from the reference picture is that I'm not always gonna have a reference picture for the lighting, the setting, and everything else. So copying from it is not a good idea. I mean, it is a good idea for studying, but like I said, in the future I will not have references when I'm creating things. So if I rely too much on having references, this is gonna come back to bite me in the butt eventually.
Stop the quitter talk, Duck.
It's not quitter talk, I'm just being critical of what I have done wrong, what I could have done better. I'm trying to get a critical sense here. Only. I am going to keep insisting on this style. I'm gonna today, after the stream is done, I'm gonna give it another try. I'm gonna try and research this style a little bit more, try doing more practices, and see what else I can get going to improve upon this. But as I was saying, another big problem I think that might have happened here, well, that I'm sure that has happened here, is that because of the reference I had, I'm halfway blaming it, yes. Because of the reference I had, I threw in too much detail into a lot of areas, and these details, they are not enriching the picture at all. They're rather making it confuser and harder to read, rather than making it look better. So that is not good at all. Since you said that you count 6 or more shades of gray. Yeah, there are many shades of gray, but there is a fixed amount. It doesn't use this whole spectrum of colors. It does use some contrast between the colors. And only you said that you are a doggo of many talents, making mean looking tough and rough boys smile and looking mushy. You make misunderstood big boys love you for how squishy you are. And Kaza, you say that bitch, I'm gay, quote unquote. And Singza, you say that the darker shades should be around black. And also Oni, thanks for the bits. And you also said that it was a small success, you did something new. Yes, I did do something new. It is an experiment. Like I said, I'm not familiar with this style at all, so I'm more or less trying out new things here. But now that I have created something that I am unhappy with, I can try and change it, remix it, and try and make something work out of this hot mess that I have. So let's analyze other things that have gone awry in here. Let's take a quick break from painting this whole thing here as soon as I'm done with this part, because of course can't stop midway. That's not how I'm wired. Maybe the black, I could throw it into the eyes. I can do it in coloring instead of doing it on the line art, on the sketch. Oh hell. Aren't those some shiny lips? There is not much more I can do here. We're done. Okay, let's analyze this again. I feel like there's a lot of details in the line art, so by taking out the colors, just the line art, there's too many details. A lot of those areas, they are not contributing to the picture, they are detracting from it. So I'm gonna start filling more areas with black and literally just splash it with black. See how that goes. And those areas that have textures going on, I'm gonna try and take out those textures and see how that goes. And also, hello there, Watchdog. Welcome to the stream, and thank you so very much for lurking around here. How are you doing today? And Oni, you said that you're a hot mess. You're a lewd hot mess. And also, hello there, Leo. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? All right. So let's give it some thought. What are the most important parts here in this picture? This goddamn picture. Or rather, let's go back to this first drawing here. The most important things in this one, let me get some very bright white. The important bit we have to get for sure is the silhouette of the arm. Maybe just the upper part, we don't need the lower part as clearly. The silhouette of the front of his body, the silhouette of his other arm up here, the silhouette of his shoulder, the silhouette of his back, and the silhouette of his face. That's what we need. And also the back here of his bow and arrow. It doesn't really adds to the scene, it just kind of shows you what kind of character he is. It's part of the character, not of the scene. Having a quiver of arrows in your back does not make it a more romantical scene, but it's the character, so let's have it. So these are the important areas. I need to be able to tell the arm from the front torso, from the scarf, which defines the shoulder, from the other arm, from the head, from the back, and from the arrow and the quivers and whatnot. Anything else can be blackened. And Watchdog, you're doing alright. You woke up late this morning and made it to work late, otherwise looking to start your day. Well, let us know how we can help you with starting your day. I'm sure all of us will have some delicious ideas and will be super duper eager to contribute. And Watchdog also says, how is everyone else doing? Tiger says, get some coffee, Watchdog. And Leo says, where is the fur? For this part here, I'm not using, there's no fur going on, because I'm practicing Chiaroscuro by drawing from life, or rather in this case, digital life. I need real lightning situations through study, that's what I needed. Now, Watchdog said that you're too sleepy to go wild, and Leo says hip quivers are so much more practical with other gear. Yeah, that they are, but you know, these people don't know any better. So now that we have defined, we need the silhouette of the arm, the front of the torso, the back, the shoulder, the other arm, the face and the quiver, and maybe the leg here. Let's erase, well, let's throw black into anything that is not those things. So nice detail we have there going on. Would be a shame if someone were to go and fill it with black. Not to say that there's no merit, you know, in having details going on, but considering how small this drawing is gonna show up, in case if it was a comic, these details are more hindering the progress than contributing to it. Also here, this scarf, it does not need this much detail. What the hell am I doing?
Bork bork bork, bork bork, bork bobo bork tilde.
And thanks for those delicious bits, Oni. Those borking bits of yours. So now... let's try to avoid having big... having areas of white and black that are too small. Like, this is a much bigger area to have whitened out, so you can really tell the shape of the area apart. Unlike, for example, down here, you can this is a very weird shape going on here in his elbow. And in fact, I think the only thing that actually does looks good is his scars and his arm. They do kind of bring a little bit more to the character. It's not a small enough detail, it's a big enough detail that we can tell it apart. And it works, but it will only work if there's no other details in the surrounding area competing for attention visually. So let's erase the details in the surrounding area. That's so the arm scars don't have to compete with anything else.
All I got to say is oh my dog.
Well, I hope it's the good kind of oh my dog on it. But nonetheless, thanks for the bits. And for the support. You're super duper awesome supportive boy. So I could leave the leg there, but it's kinda not helping a whole lot, so I'm gonna get rid of the leg details as well. This is the part where the black of the leg will contrast not against the character, but against the background, and that's where we're gonna get our detail from. Yep. God damn this thing. I want black ink, not white ink. Everything down here can also be painted black. And there we have it, more or less. A watchdog said, "You see a red door and you want it painted black." Rolling Stones. And Leo say, "Hip quiver, hip sheath, belt, coin pouch, backpack." And also, hello there, Adrian. Long time no see indeed. Welcome back into our lives. How are you doing today? How's life treating you? Has treated you so far? So we had decided that the lower arm is hardly visible. But I'm not gonna paint it black. I'm gonna leave it there so we can paint it gray. But I'm definitely, most definitely gonna erase some of these details here. And then I cannot forget that aside from, you know, using black, I also will be using some grayscale later. So I can always integrate that into the picture. By the way, this whole thing of, you know, filling areas with black and learning how to do so is a technique that you get with time. And with experience you learn how to do it faster, better, more precisely. For a while in 2017, well, for a while I mean the entire year, I was having drawing classes. Oh, drawing and comic book writing classes. So the drawing, the teacher I had for the drawing classes, it was pretty good. It was incredibly good, and he really, and you can tell there's a clear inspiration from Mike Mignola's style in his own. So he's a huge fan of using patches of black into his drawing. As should anybody else be, because it's an amazing aesthetic. So he's a fan of that, and he does it constantly. And during classes, while he gave us little assignments for us to go and do, but and while we were doing the assignments, he would go on to wait for us to finish, and while we waited, he went on and did little illustration of his own just because. And whenever he finished any illustration, at the end of the class he was like, "Okay, now I'll be seeing you guys next week," and he would go and throw the drawings he did would throw them away, like, this is just a silly sketch, I don't need this in my life. So he would go and throw it away. And like, as soon as I saw that he was doing that, I was like, no, wait, give them to me, I want to keep them. I have no idea where I have put them, but I kept his drawings. I have them here somewhere. If I look around my things, I will find them. And now that I think about it, those might be very good study materials. Because he really knew how to balance black and white, high contrast in his style. So for this kind of thing I'm trying to do, his work is gonna be amazing to use as reference. And this part here, we're just gonna paint it black with some highlights here and there. But definitely take away that texture I threw in before. It's not helping. And the back of his quiver is incredibly detailed. Or rather, I threw in a lot of detail to it, and I don't think it needs all this much detail. So I'm gonna take them out. And I guess we don't need these ornate designs in it after all. All we need to be able to say is that it's a quiver. It holds arrows. That's about it. And this is kind of sad in a way to, you know, recognize that I have spent so long in this drawing here trying to grasp the balance between black and white, trying to get all these details going on. Then I reach the end and say, well, the details are kind of ruining the drawing. So I go back, draw it again, but now with much less detail. But such is the way of art. Just doing things over and over until you get it. There's still too much detail going on in here. What else can I erase? Well, this line here, it's not doing a whole lot for this design. There are too many arrows in this thing. I mean, the idea is to have many arrows, but we have so many arrows that it's kinda you know, throwing off our reading of this drawing here. And this is where a thing you guys probably heard before, if you ever delved into arts, comes in handy. A thing called Gestalt, or Gestalt, however you say that. And the idea is that we have a lot of these little arrows in here. And I want to give the sense that there are many arrows in this quiver, but I don't want to have them be so detailed that they are kind of throwing off the drawing. So I'm gonna make one arrow here, at the end of the quiver. It will get the most detail because it's not competing against anything, since it's here on the border. And then all I'm gonna do is throw in some other arrowheads, or rather the back tip of them. It's not as subtle, but you can tell there's many arrows in here. Just because of that, I don't have to draw each individual arrow like I did before. Just by... I can hint at the possibility that there's other arrows there. This is called suggestion. You suggest something in your drawing and the viewer doesn't have to see every single detail, or they see this thing that you suggest, and if your suggestion is done in a good enough way, they will get the message and they'll be like, ah, there's many arrows there. It's a quiver. These things could only be arrows. It's kind of like Inception. But less dramatic. Okay, so let's compare. This is the drawing this is the revised version, and this is the previous version with a shit ton of details. There's lots of details, not so many details anymore. If I throw in the colors, it's easier to tell apart what is going on in here. Like, from a distance, it's still visible what is the whole thing, compared to if I were to change to the more detailed version. The more detailed version gives you some details, but it's harder to tell apart what it is.
Duggo is like to redeem my 4000 GBP. I've earned them by being a good support boy and subwoof, and keep the ball rolling, oh my dog.
I'll get to that soon on him. And also, thanks for the bits. I wanna see what everybody has been saying. Leo, you're gonna lurk. Rego says Doug only is 4.0 away from his freedom. Watchdog says so close. And Adrian, you said in the last week you got a girlfriend. Girlfriend. Oh, nice. Congratulations, Adrian. Rego says they would slap you if they knew you called them Gru. Leo says everything is more black. And Onyu said it's a struggle for this artist to make all his darkness visible. And Onyu also said that your pudgy small Bernese Mountain Doggo with extra fluff cozy if the fall and winter seasons. Oh yeah, makes sense. Watchdog said that this image looks a lot like it could be a scene from the Sin City comic. Yeah, is that true? And also, hello there, Wolf. Hello there, Wolf. Welcome to the stream. And yes-ish, I am drawing these pictures, but I'm using references, heavy references. These are pictures from the game. So here on the left, I try to do a different experiment. I try to replicate this with thumbnails. Thumbnailing this with values instead of, you know, sketching. So there's no line art going on in there. There's one on the right. Instead, I shamelessly traced over it. And then I try to fill in big blobs with black. To get it going. And then the rest I filled with shades of gray to give it the look I was going for. I guess I failed in some way because it does not look too good. But this picture here, I feel like it's easier to understand than this one. Like both from close up and from afar, it does not feel as confusing to the mind. But nonetheless, welcome to the stream, Wolf. How are you doing today? And only thanks for the bits. You would like to redeem your 4,000 goodbye pounds for free drawing. Sure thing. You will have to tell me what do you want your free drawing to be though. I can't draw it if I don't know what it is. So a big portion of this drawing here as well is the background. I'm gonna lace out and just throw in a gradient for the background. It's actually the opposite way. So this scene here, the original scene, there's a very dark background, and I try to replicate it here by throwing a very simple gradient to see how that goes. And there you have it. So once again, this is the version, the simplified version, and this is the detailed version. You know what, the more I look at it, the more I'm feeling like the detailed version is actually not that bad. It's actually not that bad. It's growing on me. But the simple version looks so simple, rather simple enough that it feels artistically more pleasing to look at, in a way. And also it's easier and faster to do. So this is a pseudo problem now. I have illustrated this picture in two ways, and I'm happy with the way both of these ways turned out. But it's hard to tell, really, which one is the more... Like, one of them, both of them looks good now that I'm looking at with renewed eyes. But no matter how good the both of them look, one of them has to be the chosen one. Has to be the basis I'm gonna use for further studies. So well, what a weird stalemate. So there you have it, everybody. Where is the thing? There it is. Also, let's hide the ones on. No, let's leave it there. So, which Alexis do you guys prefer the most? The top one or the bottom one? The top one has, you know, details all over the place. It's incredibly heavy, detailed and illustrated. There's a lot going on. which might actually make it harder to decipher, but it does look the nicest. Then there's the simpler one. It does not look as complicated visually, so it's easier to grasp what is going on, I think. If you close your eyes slightly, it's much easier to tell what's going on, I think. Well, in the end, I have no idea. I certainly definitely have no idea which one of these are best. So, I'm down to you guys. What do you guys think? Who has done it better? And also, Wolf said, "Great, Douglas." Oni also said, "Theodore holding you close as he puts the wedding collar on, which has one diamond stud and a wedding ring where the tag goes." Oh, how cute! Oh, and the bone dog tag that says Popper, while he has a wedding ring. That is all. Sounds simple enough. And also, welcome to the stream, Nekio. Wolf morning to you. How are you doing today? How was your driving class? How did it go? In the end, now that I'm looking at it, I think that I might. The top one has. I feel like it has too much detail for what I'm gonna go and do with my comic. Whereas the bottom one, I removed too many details. I should have left some details behind. By the way, in case you guys are unaware, this was my objective, to reach a illustration level akin to the Marcus Matthew Master styles. Which is on the left, you guys can see it now. That was my objective. That's the kind of the level of illustration I wanted to reach. I want to reach for this comic. Neku, you said you're kinda mad at your father, but you're fine. How about you? You took another 9 on an exam. If next one you take another 9, you will have taken 999 in each exam. That's your goal. Why a 9? Why not a 10? Do you wanna go for all 9s? And only you said the Neku is a Satan and you must slobber his dingus. Oh boy. Only say yes, perfect time. What for? Neku said 9990 escape your favorite series, you're dumb. Yes, but it's not good. I mean, that is a very arbitrary goal to decide to take a 9 on a test if you could go for a 10, which is better than having a 9. And since the, you know, this is a, you know, never mind. And also, congratulations, Neku! You got it. You're the only one who won and survived this whole heist situation. But in any case, everybody, I think we achieved something with these illustrations tests. I won't say it was a absolute 100% success. I am happy with the amount of study I was able to put in today. I particularly enjoyed trying to figure out thumbnails like I did on the left drawing. Too bad there's no detail whatsoever in it. Which maybe what makes it good, who knows. As for the drawing on the right, I'm still on the bench over whether having more or less detail is better or worse. It's kinda hard to say. But nonetheless, I feel like we made some progress. We learned a little bit about Chiaroscuro, and now I feel slightly better about this. Because like I said, for my new comic, I wanna try out a different style, a different art style. I also thought of going black and white with it, instead of making it fully colored. And I wanted to do something kind of like Marco Matteo Master's style, but his style is very unique. I don't think I can replicate it at all, or at least I didn't think I could. But now, after having done some experimentations here, I feel a lot more confident about giving it another try in the future. But I think I'm gonna end today's stream a little earlier today. So right now, because then I'm gonna go have me some lunch and some other things. Then I'll go refresh myself and get back at studying, but this time outside of the stream. But nonetheless, I hope you all guys enjoyed watching me struggle with some artwork today. Not sure how much or how little you guys enjoyed this, but I had a good time. And then also, like I said at the very beginning of the stream, if you guys have any real life pictures that you have taken from a place, a situation or anything, and you don't mind sharing it with me, I would very much appreciate those, to try and get some real life scenarios with real life lighting situations going on, or I can further experiment with this style, this crazy ass style. And Adrian, you bet your all of your good boy pounds. That's not a good move to bet all of your good boy pounds in a heist. But hopefully you won't take too long for you to get it all back again. And only you're using it for the art, 4,000 for the art, and then save up again for Fortnite. Fortnite? What? Huh. But anyway, all of you delicious boys and girls, thank you all so very much for being here today and having joined me and everybody else with this little art experiment we've done. If you guys have any resources on Chiaroscuro high contrast art Make sure to join our Discord, there's links down below, and post it over there. I would certainly appreciate any resources or tutorials you guys find that you would like to share with me. And if you're into trying to learn this as well, like learn any sorts of arts, make sure to join the Discord as well. We have some art dedicated channels over there where people can share their arts and get some critique and whatnot. So it's also good if you're trying to learn different styles yourself. But nonetheless, you can also just join the Discord if you wanna chat with the other good boys, and also get a hold of when my new streams are going up or not, whichever floats your boat. But before we truly actually go and get on with our lives doing other sort of crazy shenanigans, it's time for us to go and raid one of our many friends. We don't actually have that many friends, but let's pretend we do. And that we have to roll a gigantic roulette and find one of these friends to go and raid. So how about we go and check out Seth Wolfbane. She's playing some Dead by Daylight, and I happen to know that some of you like it, so let's go check her out and give her a gigantic woof, ow, meow, or whatever kinda crazy noise you guys make. And other than that, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. I don't know what we will be doing tomorrow, but we will be doing something tomorrow, and that's when I will be seeing you guys again. Other than that, stay awesome, have a delicious days, and take care of yourselves. And bye bye.
Usually played as we've played it with friends before. It was quite fun. We all just took it in turns of being the killer, trying to kill everybody.
I've never played killer in this game. I've always been survivor.
Oh really?
I've always been Bill.
If I can do it, I'll let you be. If I can start the lobby and set one up, because then you switch to survivor. I don't know. Doug, hey, thanks for the raid. How you doing? What's going on? You gotta go for now, but you'll catch us later. Alrighty. Thank you for coming, Curtis. King, hello. What's up? How you doing? I don't know. I think there's definitely a way for one of us to be the killer and everyone else is survivor, and then you can switch it up. That's what we usually do. I don't know if it's possible to do with friends though. Let me, if I create a lobby, and then I can probably send an invite. Hey Rygo, how you doing? Oh no, I can't. Oh god damn. It should be able to, it says kill your friends. Nani? I just don't want to I don't want to lose my rank. Oh, kill your friends. There we go. A super special one. Okay. There we go. Let's see if I can do this, and we'll let you be killer. We'll let you be killer.
No.
It'll be fun.
I haven't,
It'll be fun.
I have no idea what to do.
It'll be fun.
No. I'm gonna be Bill. I'm gonna be Bill or nothing.
And then what I can do is I can switch to survivor, you can switch to killer, and then I think we ready up.
Bill.
Oh, Bill. You want to be Bill? Okay. Let's see. Who do I want to do? Do I want to be Doc? Oh, yeah, I'll probably do Doc. I'll try it. Next round, I want you to be killer. I want you to have a go.
Killer. I have no idea how to play it. I don't even have a killer.
Okay, I think I'm ready up. Trick or treat, hand over those candies, yes! Stick 'em up, it's a spoopy raid. Aw. Instead of shouting insults and pillaging your belongings, we say boo and steal your candy. I think I'm gonna be put into a lobby. I don't know how this works. Wait, what? It's only one person? What?
Oh shit!
Oh no!
No.
How does this work?
No.
How does this work?
I'm gonna be dead.
No, I wanted to play with more people. What is this? Okay, next round we're just gonna be survivors. Okay, we've sussed that it doesn't work.
This This was unfair. I'm gonna be